All right, everybody, welcome back to another Digital 262 production. You are listening to Elite Talk. All right, what's going on, everyone? Thank you for listening to another episode of Elite Talk. We're here with my man G.
What's going on, King? How you feeling?
What's going on, Brent? How you feeling today?
Man, again, trying to stay out the way, man.
Stay out the way. You got to get in the way. Stop trying to get out of the way.
Man, I don't like being in the way. That's trouble when you're in the way.
I hear you. It's a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I'm sliding.
In this corner, we got my man TJ. What's going on, brother?
Oh, I'm good. I love my beautiful, vibrant people.
Yeah,
how's everybody doing out there?
Yeah, looking good. I love the suit, man.
Appreciate it.
Man, you know what? For season 2, we're all, like I said last time, we're all gonna be wearing suits, man, because I'm tired of looking bad. It's like when you park your Rolls Royce next to your Toyota Corolla. Yeah, you know what I mean.
I'm telling y'all, man.
And you got to pull off because
that's good. I'm out of here, man.
Like, get with me, man. The whole crew be looking right.
Yeah,
you ever seen that movie Takers?
No.
We'll be looking like that squad. Everybody suited and booted in that squad.
Yeah, I just told Pilo, like, I know season 2, man, I'm gonna change it up. I ain't gonna do the hoodies like that no more.
And then I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna just wear t-shirts and
No. Well,
I ain't gonna do that.
I guess I'll just come without a shirt. I'm sure everybody wants to see that, right?
Man, those views
are going to skyrocket,
man.
Well, it might have a negative effect, though. We might not get no views.
Hey, I don't know, bro. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna watch it.
Like, this is my own show. I ain't gonna watch it.
I ain't gonna watch it.
I'm not even gonna want to edit it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning into Elite Talk with G and TJ. So remember, go to www.digital262.com if you want to see all our episodes, or you can watch them on Facebook, you can watch them on YouTube, Pandora, iHeart, Apple, Samsung, all those platforms. You can catch our episodes of our podcasts, and they're very interesting conversations. And again, we're also looking for a female perspective. So if you're a female, it doesn't matter where you are around the country, you want to be part of this podcast, by all means, just send us a little message and we'll respond. But we're looking for a female perspective on the things we talk about.
Yeah, make sure y'all comment, man. Please make sure y'all comment, it. If you don't share it, comment. We want to hear you.
Because we know there's a lot of people that they watch these programs and they don't comment, they don't like, they don't share, but they love the program.
Right.
But we need you guys to like it. We need you guys to comment. We need you guys to share this. That's the only way we can continue doing this is if we get the feedback and then the algorithms see them. So we have to be able to know that you guys are watching. So by all means, like it, comment, share it.
We love y'all, man.
We do this for you. Yeah. So,
we do it for you.
You? No. How did you do that? For you. You.
I'm gonna stop, man. I'm on my best behavior today.
Okay. We can't get TJ in trouble today.
He got on the green, the mud. What color is that again?
That's an interesting color.
Emerald.
Look how he said it though. He said emerald.
You have to say it like
I made it bougie.
But you have to say, because if you say emerald, that's
it's like it's nothing.
Emerald.
You be like, okay, but you emerald.
No, emerald.
Emerald.
Oh, my bad.
That's a new color.
Let me pull off. Skirt.
Emerald, but the suit looks fly, man. I love it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So if you guys want to look like that again, man, hit this brother up, man. He'll make you look like that.
Fresh
and clean, man. I'm telling you, man. Nice. All right, well, let's just jump right in, man. And today we have a very interesting topic. Like I say all the time, but today is going to be very interesting. And G, tell us, what are we going to be talking about?
We're going to be talking about past trauma that actually reflects or it managed to deal with your relationship, your everyday life and your relationship, past trauma.
Past trauma. Now we'll be talking about past trauma, but it comes to what though?
How it interacts with your relationship with your significant other or any relationship, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Pretty much how it can tarnish or it can help it, with your, future, present relationship.
That's an interesting point, because the past trauma and my old relationships at my age. Okay, let me take it back. When I was younger, when I was in high school, obviously, when you're young, you don't have much past trauma. You don't even have that much relationship experience. So it was easy. It was good. But at my age now, I'm assuming, because I'm a married man, I don't deal with that anymore. But
You hear him, wifey.
I know she's watching. So, you have females who've been through a lot.
Right.
So whatever they bring into the table, it affects everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Am I lying? Am I correct?
You right. And that's the thing about it. You don't, especially when you're younger, you don't know it's trauma until you get older, and then you realize that's a trauma that you've been through.
A lot of times when you're in something, you don't realize how, like you said, how toxic it is. It's only when you're out of a situation, because when you're in the situation, it's like being in a room full of gas or smoke, I should say. Like, you can't see what's in front of you or anything. You can't even comprehend what's going on. But then you get out of that room and then you get the fresh air. You can really reflect and be like, damn, that was pretty messed up when I went through. So a lot of times we don't have that realization until we get older.
Yeah.
P-Lo, I got a question for you though. You a married man, right? You married. What made you the man you are now from your past?
From my past?
From your past, even if it's good or bad. Because I think when they say past trauma, I don't want to always think of negative ways. You know what I mean? It could be a past trauma that's good. Yeah, we think of trauma always bad, but it could be something that can make you or break you. But,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What made, and I don't want to say in a negative state, what made you change from then to now in your marriage?
Well, you know what? I'm glad you brought up that point, that trauma, even though it's a bad thing, it could evolve into some positive in a new relationship. And that's what happened to me. In my past, speaking for myself, I was always a very, when I first met my wife, I was a very jealous person. And the reason I was so jealous is because this is my second marriage. And I found out that my ex-wife cheated on me, and it hurts so much. I mean, it hurts. And I've grown out of it, but it hurt. It really hurt. So when I met my wife, I was always a very jealous person, very, very jealous person. But I've learned how to deal with my jealousy. I learned how to take my jealousy and kind of turn it into something different, if that makes sense. And kind of, I've learned from it. I learned from jealousy. My wife kind of made it known that I don't need to be jealous. I have no reason to be jealous with her.
You got nothing to worry about.
I have nothing to worry about. So I turned that past trauma into a positive thing, because now I trust my wife. That's another thing, trust issues.
Right.
So I had to learn how to trust her. I had to learn, I don't have to look at her phone. If someone calls her, I'm pretty sure it's her family member or some friend or whatever. So a lot of things that I had to deal with because of my past trauma. But I turned it into a positive, because now I'm not a jealous person. I don't have no reason to be jealous of my wife. I have no reason to question her about anything. If she feels she needs to tell me something, then I know that I trust her enough that she's going to be open with me and tell me.
So what steps did you actually take to change that thought process?
I had to reevaluate myself and reevaluate how much this marriage really means to me, because I knew that if I continued that path, my wife was going to leave me. I mean, I'm being real. She was going to leave me.
How long did it take for you to make that transition?
It took a while. My wife and I, we've been married now for, I would say, we've known each other for about 10 years. We've been married for about maybe 6 or 7 of those years.
Okay.
And it took a long time. And don't get me wrong, it's still a process. Even today, it's still a process. Even though I don't think about it as much and I don't act on jealousy. Jealousy is always something that's going to be there, but I don't let it take over me. I don't let it be, control my emotions with my wife. I don't let it control anything. So it took a while.
So you're saying your past trauma it never stopped. It just slowed down.
It never stops. I wouldn't even say it slowed down, but it kind of just put it in my unconscious memory. It's in the back. It's in the past.
Okay.
Because don't get me wrong, there are days where I have to struggle with it, but I'm mature enough now where I know how to control it. I know how to just put a stop to it, because I know it's the devil. So I just let it. I stop it right there in its tracks, and I just move on. I think happy thoughts. I think of the positive with my wife. That's how I deal with it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like even. With me and my, past trauma, my past traumas and like the women I dealt with, when it comes down to them dealing with me, I dealt with a lot of women that, when I was talking to them, of course, that they went through stuff like, not having that male figure in their life.
Yeah.
That father figure or whatever situation is, or, a past boyfriend that used to, verbally, mentally, physically abuse them. And then when they come to me, they so reserved with me, and then the least little thing I do, you know, it triggers.
It triggers, yeah.
And that's the thing about past trauma is a trigger. You know what I mean? And the thing about me, like, I try my best to be like, hey, I don't want to trigger those. You know, even with me and my past trauma, you know, with women, like I had an ex literally, man, like, you know, again, she cheated on me, you know, was in love with this girl, crazy. And this was before the 5 years. So this was a while ago.
Yeah.
But what happened was she came to me and she told me one day, she was just like, yeah, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, oh, I know it's mine. Like, all right, now I'm finna have a kid. This was before my son. And then, you know, she knew my cousin, which is crazy. So she kicked it with my cousin real hard. And I knew where they stayed at or whatnot. Something in my gut feeling was like, hey, pull up on her. And that was like the wrong thing to do. Because literally I went to where my cousin stayed at, where she was at, you know, seeing her land on another car with a guy. And then I got out, you know. I'm thugging at this time, like, bro, who you? I'm not finna box you over this chick, but who you? You know what I'm saying? You can have her. I'm just finna come and get my belongings and keep it moving. Keep it moving. I'm just finna slide. And then I'm like, bro, you know, she's saying she pregnant, blah, blah, blah. He like, yeah, I know. All right, so you telling us both this. So what made that a past trauma is like, again, it's trust. And it makes like, okay, I feel like every female is out to cheat. And not being snaky and sneaky, whatever situation, it affected me in the long run. So when I came into relationships, I came in not trusting at all. Yeah. So I hold them to that. Like the moment, like you said, the phone calls, the going out. So I had to learn now, like I had to stop coming into that, thinking like that. Yeah. Because it's not healthy for me. Because I'm stressing about her doing what she doing. I'm at work and now like I've been working a lot of second shift, a lot of third shift with my past jobs. Yeah. So I got to worry about her while I'm at work. She going out doing she doing, or somebody sliding to the crib when I'm not even there or whatever. So that took a major hit, and I had to learn, like you said, self-evaluate myself and say, do I still want that for me? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Do I still want to hold that past trauma? Yeah, it was major, but it slowed down a lot.
How about you, TJ? I mean, have you been through what past traumas have you been through personally that affects you now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got a couple of them. One of them, you know, I'm a type of guy, like my whole life I've gotten along better with women. So I had a lot of women, like female friends in relationships and stuff. But one of my significant relationships in the past, she was just really, really insecure. Like I'd have female friends who I've never did anything with or never touched them, never even thought about it. And this particular woman, she's a beautiful woman. I'm not trying to talk bad about her, but she was really insecure. Like I couldn't go out and do certain things. I'm the type of guy, if I love you, if I'm with you, if I'm committed to you, that's my choice. And I'm going to be out here representing you properly. I'm not going to be on any BS or anything like that. So every time that I'd go out, man, like I'd go out and I'd get like a barrage of texts. And then when I didn't respond in a certain duration of time, she'd leave angry, nasty voicemails saying, I know you're out there entertaining other women. And it was just crazy. And it kind of created anxiety. And the relationship was really unhealthy because I wasn't able to even go out with even guy friends because I would constantly get accused of stuff, or if we'd be out to dinner or something. And I remember one time vividly, the waitress was serving us and stuff, and she felt like the waitress was flirting with me. Yeah. And I was, we were giving each other special attention or whatever. And I'm like, well, you want that food to taste good, right? You don't want no spit in there or anything. Like, I'm a friendly guy. You know, I don't cross any boundaries with women or anything like that. Like I said, when I'm committed, I'm committed. But she was just so angry and insecure all the time. Like, and that developed a trauma within me because in my mind, I stopped going out with friends. I cut off all my female friends just to make her feel comfortable. And I felt like that was kind of unhealthy because it didn't allow me to just live my true life and be in my true element as a person. And furthermore, it's like I didn't understand where that insecurity came from. It made me second guess myself and make me feel like, do I make her feel this way? Because of attention that I get from women, or Was it a guy in her past that cheated on her? And, you know, I kind of uncovered that a little more. And I realized that that was the case, that her most significant relationship, her longest relationship, the guy broke her heart.
Yeah.
He cheated on her. And it wasn't necessarily anything that I was doing. But if you have a guy who cheats on you and reduces your self-esteem, you're going to have those insecurities, especially if you get with a guy who I'm not trying to brag or anything, but women give me a lot of attention for multiple reasons. It could be physically, it could be because my intellect and, you know, I connect with women on a different level, but even though I never crossed the line. So that really triggered her. Like, I probably wasn't the right guy for her getting out of that relationship. So that relationship really left a bad taste in my mouth. And then eventually, you know, I broke that situation off. And then I got into future relationships, and it kind of in the back of my head, it just played a part. Yeah, right. Like it made me just second guess everything, and I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to be social. And I found myself just being really miserable and just uncomfortable because I felt like I wasn't being myself.
Yeah. So did that make you move differently with the futures, like the ones that came behind her? Did that make you move different? How did that play a part with your future ones that you actually dated?
I just became more mindful. I looked at things from a woman's perspective. Like I tell every woman, like, you can't be an insecure woman being with me. Like, you have to be super secure. You got to give me positive attention all the time, because I'm not going to, I'm the type of guy, I'd leave you before I cheat on you. Yeah. You know, like, there's no purpose in that. Me living a double life and trying to cover up things, that gets exhausting. Like, I've been there before, you know, in my younger days, but at this point in my life, and I've established I don't want to do that, and I want to be honest and true. So it definitely made me move different, and it made me really dive deeper into a woman's trauma, because she could be projecting an insecurity on you and you not even know. Like, why? And then you second guess yourself. Like, am I doing something wrong? But no, it really makes you be more attentive to that woman's insecurity. And then you put it on the table, you talk about it, and you move past it. I mean, nothing happens overnight. Like you said, it took years for you to not be a jealous man. Yeah. And it took years for you to not have the perception that all women cheat. Right. Yeah. So it's a process, but we just have to put it out on the table, have those vulnerable discussions, and learn a person's trauma inside and out. And then that'll strengthen the relationship and prevent those problems.
And that's it. That's the thing. Again, people don't talk. Like, you know, like we talking about this now, past trauma, you know, stuff that we went through. Yeah. The more we hold it in, the more it managed to brighten up. It's like a dim light, you know, or a light bulb. You know what I'm saying? Is in and it's gonna stay bright. Yeah. You know, eventually, it's gonna dim itself out and go out. But in order for that to happen, you know, you got to keep using that light bulb. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got to keep turning on that light.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys something. Do you feel that is it harder or more difficult for a female to get past a past trauma than it is a male?
Yeah, I feel that, because I feel women go through more than what a man go through.
So,
and the reason I
say the question again,
do you feel that a woman can get past
trauma quicker than men?
Trauma quicker than men.
And your answer is,
I believe they don't. Like, it takes a long time for them to get.
But do you think a woman can get past it faster than a man?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
I disagree with that.
What do you think?
I feel like it takes longer for a man to get over it. And I say that because women are more emotional based thinkers and feelers. So women, when you put things out on the table and you deal with it, it's easier for you to get over it because you're acknowledging it, you're dealing with it. A lot of men don't know how to be emotionally vulnerable. And a lot of men have egos too. So they could be feeling away, but they don't even allow themselves to feel or address the trauma to get over it. So they harbor it for years and years and years without even talking about it. Versus women, they could cry it out, they could talk about it. It may take some time, but they're going to get over it eventually because they dealt with it. Versus men don't do that.
Yeah. But I see the thing about it with men, when it comes down to that, we manage to say, I don't care, and we leave it as that.
But that's not dealing with trauma though.
And that's right. That's what I'm saying. But when it comes down to like women, and what I experienced is they manage to still something that can happen to them 10 years ago, still bring it up to me or bring it up to me now. Like I didn't had that. Like when the last person I was conversating with, her and her, baby daddy, last boyfriend went through something.
Yeah.
And every time it turn around, it's like, okay, he did this, he did that. And I'm like, well, sweetheart, I'm not him. Okay, let's move. I get it. I thank you for talking to me about it. So now I can watch my steps.
Yeah.
On how I move. But now we got to move past that. Now let me help you move past that. And even like with my past trauma, it took a minute, but I was like, you know what? If you're going to cheat, you're going to cheat.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep it pushing. Yeah. So that's why I feel like, men move quicker on past trauma. And like you said, I think that's why I say they do, because we just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. You know what? Let me chime in, and I disagree, respectfully with your point. And, speaking with my situation, my wife, I remember in the past episode, we talked about stepfathers. Yeah. And, my wife, obviously I'm a stepfather to a 22-year-old now. Yeah, yeah. And she still lives with us. And I've got over my past trauma, but I feel like sometimes my wife doesn't. And it triggers, one of the triggers, and I'd hate to say this, but is my stepdaughter. Because my stepdaughter's father treated her like crap. I mean, it's horrible. Yeah. Abused her in many different ways and just bad. And my stepdaughter looks a lot like her dad. So, my wife, whenever we get into a conversation or a heated argument, and my stepdaughter, let's say, walks into the room, it's like a trigger. Yeah. And she brings up everything that I've never done. Yeah. But in her mind, I've done. Yeah. And she's never gotten past it. I feel like she's never gotten past it.
And that's what I'm saying. Women do that. And again, I'm not bashing women, but they do that. You and your woman get into an argument about something that don't even, like, is pertaining to y'all. But then something comes up in that argument that don't have nothing to do with you. Yeah. And you sitting back and you looking like.
So do you feel like that woman is not just getting over it, or she's just using it as a reference?
I think a little bit of both.
Okay.
Just to hold something, because
I feel like I rather deal with a woman, even if she's kind of, I can see what y'all saying, like it's more of a rehash, and you're like, well, we got over this. Why are we still talking about it?
Exactly.
I feel like you can utilize references, and I feel like that's easier to deal with because I at least can reassure her. I at least know that it's still affecting you. It kind of gives me like a temperature check of where she's at mentally, versus a man. He could be having an issue that happened 10 years ago, and you'll never know because he'll never talk about it. And that's like a silent killer to me, because it's going to come out in different ways. Versus a woman, I rather have something like, if I know, this is a base level example, if I know somebody doesn't like me, I rather them tell me so I can know how to move with them, versus a person who secretly envies me and doesn't like me, but they're pretending to and not saying anything. I can't prepare to defend something that I don't even have knowledge of. But at least if a woman's being vocal about it, like I said, I could make the proper adjustments. I can listen. I can reassure her, and find out if she's still hashing it out or using it as a reference. Versus a man, like I said, a lot of men don't even speak on their issues. They'll go to the grave feeling away, and it'll keep affecting the relationship, and they won't even know. And I also use my, not to put them on the spot, but my parents' relationship. Like, I feel like my mom was an expresser. Like, you knew how she felt at all times, and then she got over it. Yeah. But my dad, man, it'd be things where he'll never say anything, but then like years later, he'll mention it. And it's like, why didn't you mention it sooner? Why didn't you mention it 5 years ago? Because we could have got past that. So I feel like that's worse. Yeah. And that's why that kind of formulates my opinion that men hold on to things longer than women.
And not just like one of my past traumas that I talked about before is abandonment. You know what I mean? And that stems from like my childhood. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, even when I talk to people, I tell them, like, you know what I'm saying? And I say I watch certain stuff to kind of help me out. Talk to people, watch different stuff to help me out with my past trauma. Like I said, abandonment is one. And I told him, like, man, go back to that time. Like, if it's your 7-year-old self, your 10-year-old self, go back to that time, sit in that, mourning that, pretty much grieving that, and then let's work on it. Let's fix it.
Yeah.
So like now it got to the point where like now when it comes down to like nobody want to be around me, it's like okay, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because now I worked on is like I don't have to yarn to be
liked.
To be liked.
Yeah.
Like I don't it don't matter to me.
Yeah.
Like if you don't, you don't. If you do, you do. I don't have to be around you. I don't have to come around you. I don't have to do none of that because I done said in that. I accepted it. Now moving on from it. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing. So yeah, that was a past trauma because, you know, me, you know, and I'm not putting my father down, but he kept us isolated.
Yeah.
Because that's how his mother taught him and whatever. You know, that's a generational
That's
thing.
because of that unresolved trauma.
It's unresolved trauma.
He went years of feeling that way.
Yep.
So when he got his own family, he didn't know how to even combat that.
Right.
It's actually, I was going to bring that up. That was actually a question I was going to ask you, gentlemen. Do you feel, because I know we've talked about how trauma affects us in a relationship from past relationships, but can past trauma be something else that's not a relationship caused trauma? What else can cause past trauma that will affect a relationship now?
Generational curses.
I honestly, I really don't even like to call it past trauma because if you're presently dealing with it, it's trauma.
Yeah.
Past trauma is, it's kind of resolved. You got over it, you know, and you applied it to be a better person. But even if it's 10 years ago, you're like, well, 10 years ago is the past. Yeah, but it's currently still affecting you.
Yeah.
So it's still your trauma.
So we should call it present trauma.
Yeah,
Or
it's trauma.
It's trauma.
Because to me, the past is like a closed chapter, a closed book. But if the chapter's still open, you're still reading it.
I get that.
You didn't move past it, you know?
I think when we talk about trauma, we say the word trauma. I think, and I get your point.
Yeah.
I think we're talking about maybe the cause of the trauma was past.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What happened back then that made us what we are right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like I said earlier, like with my parents, like my dad and my mom or whatever. And again, not to, I'm not bashing them. It's just some stuff that they did and how they moved and how they operate because of how their parents operate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That how I am right now, one of the kids that stayed on the porch when all my friends was, kicking it on the block riding their bikes. And it's like, hey, can you come down and play? And be like, no, we got to stay on the porch, But then later on, I had to, me talking to him, I had to literally be like, okay, why? Well, I was keeping you from out the streets. That's what he told me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it didn't make sense until now.
Yeah.
Do you feel like trauma is solely based on experience or your most internal insecurities projecting and manifesting?
Well, in my opinion, I think your insecurities come from trauma. In my opinion, I think
like
trauma is something that has to be experienced.
It's formulated.
I believe so.
Okay, it isn't like innate. Like if you naturally are just insecure about something.
I thought about that, but then I think about the people that are around me.
Yeah.
Even at work, you have all these different personalities, and my interactions with certain people, are not good. And sometimes I think about that. It's just something that they're born with, something that they're just like that. But then I think about it deeper, and I don't think so. I think that it's something that happened. Maybe they were bullied in their past, or maybe their past, bad relationship, or if
someone's so loud and assertive. But that comes from when they're a child and they have a voice. So they feel like, well, I'm an adult now.
Yeah.
I have a choice. So I'm going to be loud and I'm going to speak and people are going to know my perspective.
Right.
Yeah. That's just like, and we can use this like when people driving. Like I know people that literally got into a bad accident.
Right.
Terrible accident. And they would not get behind the wheel. Like I said, I do lift. Like, you know what I'm saying? I pick up a lot of people. And I lift this one person from Kenosha to Racine. And she told me, she said she literally has a whole vehicle at home.
Yeah.
And she had a bad accident and she would not get behind the wheel.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're willing to pay me, which I don't care how much you pay me.
Sometimes a peace of mind is priceless.
And and I think that's probably what it was. And me thinking about, I thought about that for a long time. Like, you doing this is like you kind of express it. So you're trying to get over your trauma of this accident by telling me this. You taking lifts all the time. You investing in your trauma by speaking on it. And that's the thing. And that's a little message I would say. Just invest into your trauma. And it don't got to be like, okay, investing in the meaning, talk about it.
Right.
Go get help. Even if you talk to a therapist. I don't use a therapist. I use my people around me.
Yeah. I was just gonna ask you, as men, how do we get past trauma? How do we combat it to be better men?
Just talk. We talk about it. Like I said, and we said it on our past podcasts. We talk all the time about certain stuff.
Yeah.
Like, when me and TJ first met each other, and I was telling him stuff, he was giving me golden nuggets. He was like, all right, look at it like this. Because when you manage to talk to somebody else, they're gonna give you a different outlook than what you see in it. And
even
that's the thing about
you.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I know you, I know your temperament and your behaviors,
Right.
but I'm also outside of you.
Right.
So I can provide a second set of eyes. And I remember before we even started doing this, man, we used to sit when we worked together.
Yeah.
We used to sit on the units, man, and we used to like literally just pour our hearts out to each other.
Yeah.
And we were like, man, we need to document this because so many men don't talk about this type of stuff. Like this is real life stuff that men are affected by every day. It affects their relationships with their parents. It affects their relationships with their woman. It even affects the relationship with their children.
Right. Yeah.
So it's really deep. It's like, man.
In past trauma, it do hurt. Like it hurts. And that's, so like my past trauma can affect our relationship. Like it makes, like he can tilt his hat the wrong way and it can piss me off.
Yeah.
It
Because could trigger me. Now I'm mad at him and I want to fight him.
Yeah.
So then the best thing I can do is be like, man, like an incident, like I almost got shot at 7 years old because I had my hat turned the wrong way on my porch.
Yeah.
So then if I manage to see that now with somebody hat turned, I could be like, and I could just get mad because back then that's when gang violence was like, you know.
That's why I think it's very important that we have these type of conversations as men.
Right.
And for those that are watching, I think we came to the conclusion that talking is what makes, the trauma a little easier.
Right.
In our line of work, we see a lot of people that, really let their past trauma really take precedence on everything they do in their lives. And that's why they are where they are. And I also see people who resort to alcoholism, resort to drug use, and not only the easy drugs, but the hard ones, that'll really tear you up.
Mess your life up.
Exactly. And it all because they didn't know how to deal with their past traumas, or maybe they didn't have somebody to talk to, about their past traumas. And I think that's the golden ticket right there. In order for us to get over the past trauma, we have to be able to conversate.
Yeah.
But people also got to be accessible too, though.
You mean the people to listen?
To listen.
Yeah. Because
if I come to TJ and I'm telling him about something and he resenting the conversation, then I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna shut down. So now I can't deal with my past trauma. You know what I'm saying? Like the job, what we do for work or whatever. They know for me to tell them real. I'm gonna tell you what's real, and I tell them that all the time. Like, man, what you been through, talk about it. Like few of them I talk to one-on-one. And they let me know what's up.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, okay, let's go about this. Like I tell a few of them, hey, whatever you're going through, go write it down. Go write a letter. Write a letter to the people that you want to apologize to, say sorry to, and then write how you want to fix that.
Yeah.
I was just going to suggest that writing journal.
Yep.
I'm a writer. I like to write poetry and, just my thoughts.
Yeah.
So I could have been like, I was looking at my journal the other day from like 2 years ago, and I was at a really low point a couple of years ago, and I read it recently, and I'm just like, man, like that really helps me get over that trauma even more, just going back and seeing where I was and where I am right now.
Yeah.
Journaling, just keeping like a nice tribe, have a group of friends who are vulnerable, who are gonna hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Because I don't want a bunch of yes men around me as a man. Like I want my friends to tell me the nitty gritty, even if I get defensive, even if I don't like it at the time, I can respect the person for being real.
Yeah.
Like, cause then even if I get in my feelings, I can think about it,
right.
in the future and reflect. And I'm like, you know what? My brother was right, man.
Yeah.
I was tweaking, and then go back to them and thank them, because I'm like, you could have told me, you could have allowed me to walk around with my head in the clouds, but you brought me to ground, you brought me back to earth, and you brought me back to reality. So just surround yourself by people like that hold you accountable. Also, like you said, invest in therapy. Like I've been seeing a therapist for 2-3 years now, and my therapist is so dope. Like, I haven't seen her in a minute, but you know, like my therapist like really puts things in perspective. Like I used to be against therapy, like how somebody that don't know me gonna tell me what I should do with my life. Like, no, that's really toxic because it's the opposite. An individual that doesn't know you could provide a second set of eyes and a different perspective that you otherwise wouldn't have even considered.
Right.
So, I mean, you're not crazy. Nothing's wrong with you. Everyone needs to talk to somebody. We're humans. We need companionship. We need people in our circle to help us.
Yeah.
So don't be above that at all.
Exactly. You know, it all goes back to, you know, being vulnerable. You know, we talked about that in a previous podcast. In order for us to get over whatever we've been through in our past, we have to be vulnerable. We have to be able to talk to people. We want to be able to give ourselves permission to cry and give ourselves permission to just let it all out. You know what I mean? Just let it all out. And if it takes years, then it takes years, but at least start working on it. You know,
when was the last time you cried, Pilo?
Man, I couldn't tell you the last time I cried. I can tell you, I've maybe
like years.
It took years, yeah. And I have a podcast about that when I talked about me personally, how it's hard for me to become vulnerable and cry. Yeah. And but I've obviously if I've cried in the past, and
was it by yourself?
By myself. I'm a self cry. I don't like to cry in front of people.
Is it an ugly cry?
It's an ugly cry. That's
that silent strong. What about you, G?
Mine been a while. I ain't gonna lie, it was like last year.
Okay.
It was last year. I was depressed last year.
Yeah.
2021, the whole year I was depressed. Nobody knew because it was just I put a mask on.
Yeah.
You know, thinking that everything's okay. But it was last year.
Yeah.
You know, going through multiple breakups, you know, whatever stuff happening is like, man.
Right.
And I had to, you know, I was solo by myself and cried it out. But then, you know what I'm saying, all right, let's go. Let's put the big boy draws back pushing. On. And let's keep going.
How about you, TJ?
It's been a minute, man, but well, no, I'll probably say less than a year ago.
Yeah.
Like I cry over, I'm not like a super emotional. I mean, I feel my emotions, but I cry like over like happy tears. I remember one time I was driving a car and I listen to a lot of jazz when I'm driving because I just think about life. And I was driving and I just started crying, man. Like the sun was setting and stuff. And I was just like, man, I'm really happy with where life is right now. I'm happy with what God's doing in my life right now. Yeah. And then the other times where I cried, it was because it was over something that I'm used to, like taking my destiny in my own hands. So the last time that I cried was when I wasn't in control of a situation that I wanted to change that was affecting me. Because I felt powerless. I felt like I didn't have any control or any outlet or anything. And when I feel like I'm helpless, because I'm a self-starter, I'm like, if I don't like something, I'm going to change it.
Yeah.
But in this certain circumstance, I couldn't change it. And then my mom, she lost her mom. She lost both her parents in like within 7-8 months of each other.
Yeah.
And just, I spent a lot of time with her, and just seeing her pain made me cry because in my mind, I'm a fixer. So it's like, okay, like if you're crying about something, what's wrong? All right, I'm gonna go fix that. And then it's done. But I can't bring my grandmother back. And that's a pain that she will probably always feel for the rest of her life. And I just felt so helpless because I'm like, well, I want to change. Like my mom's sad, but I want to change that, but I can't because you can't, once you only have one life to live, you know, and that was probably the last time I really cried. And then some days she calls me and she's like, I can't believe she's gone. Like even like, maybe like last week or something. And I think, probably last week was the last time I really like cried. Yeah. I want to say, because it hurts me. Like, I don't know how close you are with your mom or your mom, but
real close.
You see your mama cry, man. That's just, or you hear her cry on the phone. It's different.
Yeah, it breaks you down.
Absolutely.
Like, so
because you can't do nothing about it.
Exactly. So whenever I don't have the control to change something for the good,
right,
that'll make me like cry. And I know I'm not less of a man showing emotions and stuff. And I just feel like more men should know that.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You don't have to go outside and talk to a tree, or cry alone or whatever. Right. I mean, whatever your preference is, whatever your advice is, but you should be vulnerable, talk to your people. Because you never know who's going through what. If you're in a relationship, talk to that woman.
Yeah.
Educate yourself on that woman and her trauma during the beginning stages, because it's going to help you when you're established.
Yes.
And it's going to also increase your longevity. So it's just about emotional vulnerability, man.
Yeah.
That's how we overcome our trauma.
And that's it right there.
Yeah, not trying to be a tough guys or nothing, just dealing with that and being vulnerable.
That's it, emotional vulnerability. So if anyone out there that's listening, if you need someone to talk to, please find out. I'll add some links on the bottom of this video of services you can use to talk to people. But the important thing is to talk to somebody about these past trauma. Don't let it affect you. If you feel that it's affecting you in your relationship, talk to your significant other. Talk to somebody that can give you a word of advice, something that can help you with whatever it is that you're going through. It's something real. It's something that it can be fought through, and it can be won. You can win this battle.
It's like poker.
Yeah,
like you said,
there you go.
You can be dealt with the worst hand, but you can still win that game.
Still win the game.
It's all about mentality and perspective.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, this has been a very interesting conversation. And again, go to www.digital262.com. Check out our previous podcast, or go to any media outlet. We're everywhere. So, check us out. So, gentlemen, thank you again for this interesting conversation. G, do you have any final thoughts?
Your trauma is not your fault, but your healing is your responsibility.
That has to be the best one I've heard.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be funny. That's actually really good. That's really true.
I don't have any final words. We can go with that because I can't come behind that.
You can't beat that.
Mic drop.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you guys for watching Elite Talk with G and TJ. Thank you, and to the next one.
Peace.
Peace.